Hello everyone. I am Theory Cadet, and holy smokes, it's been too long since we uploaded our unpolished theory, which was rushed by the camping trip, but now we are here with a better and much more suitable one. So getting to the point, this mega theory was made to cover everything MatPat has discovered along with everything I have discovered myself, and what we expose today will undoubtedly flip this series off of its lid and shatter your mind with all the revelations you never knew about this animatronic empire. We know by now that Scott has made every character important to the story and its timeline, and this series looks like it's crossing over with the novels. Oh, and by the way, Scott, I don't mean to be rude, but seriously, you needed to put more effort into the shadow animatronics. I mean, all we have is an all too obvious retcon in sister location. To go off of more on that later. And the other thing I despise about you is that you never shown us the canon Spring Bonnie model. And finally, you absolutely neglect the endoskeletons and the confusion over the save them minigame. Do those children come to possess the toy animatronics or not? You have left open so many plot holes. So let's go over every animatronic and establish their importance to the timeline. Take Freddy for example. Everyone has found a weird hand-shaped print on Freddy's face. This leads me to believe that this was from Phone Guy, because he would likely been struggling, and the fact that we never hear from him again from Night 4. We also know that Phone Guy's death was a group effort from Bonnie and Chica's gasps of air and breathing, Foxy pounding on the door, Freddy playing his Toreador march, and Golden Freddy's scream at the end of the call. So when Phone Guy was about to die, he only struggled hard enough to leave a smudged handprint for us to see. Chica is also an important character, since she helps us discover not only her origin story, but the rest of the core animatronics backstories as evidenced in the source code for sister location teasing Chica's party world. This tells us that Chica was her own solo act before 1983, and after 1973 when the first Fredbear's Family Diner closed down. As to why, just listen to what Phone Guy says about the animatronics hygiene on Night 1. Simply subtract 1993 by 20 years and you get the purple guy's first murder back in 1973. Since in the Take Cake and Security Puppet minigames we only see Freddy and the puppet, which means Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy would join the family later on. And we are just getting started. We have more to cement and remind people. MatPat also deduced in one of his other theories that this dead dog in the Fruity Maze minigame is one of William's first experiments with Remnant, and goes on to possess Mangle because of Mangle's dog-like behavior, which includes no human noises, walking on all three legs, sharing a missing eye, along with being a canine-like animal. Mangle being possessed by a dog and vengeful against William would explain the bite of 87. Mangle's been taken over by a dog, and since dogs don't have as much cognitive function, which is the level of thought process an organism has, and its IQ level, as humans do, it would clear up why Mangle was destined to be the one to cause it in the first place during the day shift. And the bigger bombshell is that we know that the girl in the Fruity Maze minigame who happens to be the owner of the dog is named Sissy, and is reunited with her dog because she's the one who possesses Chica. So Sissy and her dog star in FNAF 2 and FNAF 3. However, Mangle's connections don't stop there. We can even connect her to Funtime Foxy. Looking at Mangle and Funtime Foxy, you can instantly pick up on all their similarities, such as both have rosy cheeks, lipstick, tufts of fur, a red bow tie, the same teeth, and even painted nails. So who's to say that toy in Elizabeth room is the inspiration for Mangle? In addition, we know that Henry, who is Charlie's father, is a true creator of Baby from sister location, and that Afton stole his creations, blueprints, and everything else useful after Henry's demise from the Silver Eyes PG-95. The benches were there, where her father had assembled and tweaked his inventions, but the materials, the blueprints, and the half-finished robots that were once crammed onto every suitcase had disappeared. Where are they? And that's not even mentioning the fact that both the toy and Funtime animatronics appear to be made out of a plastic material that makes them shiny. So the Funtimes were originally Henry's, but were stolen and corrupted by Afton. So Ballora might not be a representation of Afton's wife, but rather Henry, since Henry had lost Charlie. When Afton murdered her, he preserved the memory of his wife in Ballora, and Circus Baby herself was most likely to preserve Henry's memory of his own daughter Charlie, hence the animatronic name of Baby. Afton stealing baby is like a reminder to him taking Charlie away. William is literally and mentally taking Henry's baby away from him by taking Charlie's life at the diner along with baby being stolen from Henry. Afton is literally trying to take Henry's own happiness away from him. The origins of the Funtime animatronics and baby through their connection to Henry and Mangle make this series even more sad from Henry's point of view. He truly is a broken man on the inside. Now we move on to an elephant in the room that has been left hanging ever since FNAF 4 premiered. If you look at Nightmare Foxy, you can see he has a metal snout, a detail no one has noticed, and we had never seen any other animatronic. That was until Sister Location when looking at Funtime Foxy with her faceplates open, and look at that, a metal snout made of metal wires, and notice that all the animatronics in FNAF 4 except for Plushtrap have 5 fingers. The only other animatronics to have this feature are Springtrap, the Rockstar animatronics, and you guessed it, the Funtimes. Mitchell sure has connections to animatronics, who also share connections with other animatronics in the story. And speaking of Plushtrap, remember what I said about Plushtrap being the only animatronic in the FNAF 4 house to have 4 fingers? This leads me to believe that Plushtrap is actually a real being. He's just a toy. He's not a nightmarish incarnation of Spring Bonnie. He's the plush finger trap that we see one of the kids playing near Fredbear's family diner. Then Dazzling's pal Bonnie the Tank Engine. Go subscribe to him, link is in the description. And him had a conversation on which animatronics the nightmares were based off of. The withered animatronics from vanilla FNAF 2, or the Rockstar animatronics from the new and squeaky clean FNAF 6. Well, let's look at evidence from both sides. So we need to establish why people would think the nightmares are based off of the Rockstar animatronics. The most used piece of evidence is the presence of Nightmare the animatronic, who symbolizes death and the shadow of Fredbear, a Nightmare Shadow Freddy, and an inverted Golden Freddy color palette. So when players saw Lefty for the first time, they connected Lefty to Nightmare, since he was an animatronic that was colored black. Not only that, but Nightmare is also a palette swap of Lefty. One is a black bear with gold eyes and red accessories, and the other is a black bear with red eyes and gold accessories. Then there is another aspect to Nightmare that I think Scott is trying to misguide us with his transparency, while most of us just write this off as a way to make him much more terrifying, but it has a lot of symbolism that helps fit his character. Transparency in a symbolic sense would mean appearing to lack substance, meaning, or importance, easy to figure out or understand. Truthfulness, the ability to hide or not be noticed. This would make sense for Nightmare and Lefty, because they both contain other animatronics, like how Nightmare reveals his own endoskeleton, and how Lefty reveals that the marionette is inside of him. They both contain truthfulness about who they are. Nightmare is the inverted version of Golden Freddy, who is a symbol of light, hope, and the truth. FNAF 4 is all about revealing the truth of William having a family of his own, a family that was broken down and then put back together by a son that wasn't even his own. Lefty also symbolizes the truth during the Insanity ending, when it's revealed he's a containment unit built to capture Charlotte, who's inside the puppet. So that's the Nightmare and Lefty in a nutshell. So let's go over the others. Just looking at these guys, you can tell that a lot of similarities are popping up, such as the similar head shapes between the Rockstar and Nightmare animatronics, along with the 5 fingers trope. And before you go saying Theory Cadet, can you actually prove they existed during 1983? And the answer is a big fat yes. In Pizzeria Simulator, you not only have an after-work salvaging for your old friends and family, you also have a tycoon-style management simulator. And when starting the game, you're presented with a catalog of various Pizzeria distribution companies for supplies and bots. Keywords: distribution companies. You're buying animatronics that existed prior to the events in FNAF 6. We can prove it thanks to the Mediocre Melodies crew, because they're the temporary costumes that the phone guy, Acker in-game Scott Cawthon, talks about in the aftermath of the Bite of 83 feet. Yeah, remember that? They also match the masks we see in the Happiest Day minigame, the one where Charlie is trying to recreate the birthday stolen from Cassidy Acker Golden Freddy's spirit. And since we know the missing Children incident happened on June 26, 1985. It would mean the mediocre Melodies crew had to have existed prior to that high pointy 1983, along with Funtime Chica, the star of Chica's Party World that I just talked about a few pages ago, and the cherry on top is El Chip, who is actually a cameo mascot from El Chip's Fiesta Buffet. The fact that the Rockstars have a chica in the band also solidifies that these guys came during 1983. So far everything is going well for the Rockstars being the inspiration for the Nightmare animatronics, so it should be them, right? Wrong, because it's the pre-1987 Withered animatronics that come out on top. Notice that Nightmare Bonnie has an exposed left foot and right hand that looks exactly like Withered Bonnie from FNAF 2. Nightmare Chica is the only other animatronic to have 3 toes in her suit feet, the only exception being Withered Chica, and Nightmare Chica is holding a cupcake instead of maracas like her more Spanish influenced counterpart. Rockstar Foxy doesn't have brown shorts and exposed endoskeleton legs, but Withered Foxy does. The next few animatronics that dismantle the Rockstars equal the Nightmares is the fact that there's no Rockstar Fredbear or Spring Bonnie. And have you ever noticed why the Rockstar animatronics never get banned? Because of their 5 fingers. Well, it's not about outlawing 5 digits, it's actually outlawing the color gold. The bite of 83 feet is such a freak accident that the color gold cannot exist on any Freddy or Bonnie incarnation. That's why you don't see a golden toy Bonnie or toy Freddy, and it's also why we don't see gold colored animatronics in FNAF 6 except for Scrap Trap, of course. However, I mean animatronics performing on stage, not the ones out of order. Not to mention Plush Trap. Again, that little guy saves the day once more. He isn't in with the Rockstar animatronics, he's part of the merchandise for Fredbear and Friends as a finger trap toy. Finally, the most crucial piece of evidence is the material that makes up the Nightmare's suits. It's not as shiny as the Rockstar animatronics, which means they aren't made of plastic. Rather, they are made of fabric like Michael's childhood plushes. The tears in their suits prove it. So the Withereds have to be the most likely candidate. Bonus fact, they simply don't have stars, the rosy cheeks, or the painted knee pads. However, the most mysterious thing in FNAF isn't an animatronic or a human, it's a grey, dark stained box with 2 gold locks with brown lines covered with metal buttons. This box only appears after beating Nightmare in the Nightmare mode of FNAF 4. After trying to pry the locks open, a message appears saying some things are left forgotten. Well, guess what? We didn't forget about it, and neither did Scott. Since he clarified that the box has 2 forms, he clarified what it is exactly using the Silver Rise novel and the symbolic representation in FNAF 6. In the novel, it's revealed that the box is a toolbox used by none other than Henry, the creative half of the company, the one who creates the original bots including Fredbear and Spring Bonnie, had plans for the Funtime animatronics, and the one who sets up the trap in Pizzeria Simulator PG-96. John was standing beside her father's toolbox, and Hess stepped away as she came over, giving her space. Charlie knelt down before it. It looked as if it had just been polished. It was made of dark, stained wood, glossy with some kind of lacquer. The fact that the box and its contents are still polished and in mint condition goes along with the theory that Afton stole all the things from Henry's workshop and is using them for his own devices. Now you're probably all wondering what is the inspiration this box was used for. To answer that, you must ask the character. You'd least expect Candy Cadet, the character that I'm based off of, and the fan favorite of MatPat. If you give him enough tokens, he'll tell you one of 3 stories involving 5 things becoming one and put into a box. This might not make sense until you see the final image of FNAF 6 during Henry's closing monologue. The screen on the monitor shows the vent system the animatronics are in, and the pizzeria itself before it fades away, revealing the exact same shape as Henry's toolbox. It also fits with Candy Cadet because it stars 5 characters being killed off together and put into one box. Henry purposefully made the trap after the next thing he loved. Now we come to the missing children. In MatPat's recent theory video, he discovered that each gravestone matches the positions of the masks in the good ending of FNAF 3, with Gabriel being Freddy, Jeremy as Bonnie, Ceci the owner of the dog who goes on to possess Mangle as Chica, Fritz is Foxy. Thanks to a few Reddit users, we find out the name for the spirit of Golden Freddy is Cassidy, and we know from the books that the one who posses is the puppet is Charlie. And Golden Freddy having a female spirit would explain the girlish laughter we hear emanated from him. Then Matt discovered that the font on Ceci's grave is the exact same font that introduces each night of FNAF 4. We were confused at first until it clicked. Sissy must have appeared in FNAF 4, but then who is she? Well, it's my firm belief that Sissy is the one who wears a chicken mask to Michael's birthday party and helped cause the bite of 83 feet that back quote s right. The kids who cause Michael to get bitten by Fredbear are the children who go on to possess the classics. That means the Bonnie and Freddy masked boys are Jeremy and Gabe, and that means Fritz is Mike's older brother. And it even answers a question we wanted to know. Why did William commit the missing children's incident? It's because of the incident at Fredbear's caused by his own son Fritz. It would also explain Fox's aggression. He's the most temperamental because he was killed by his own father. The pieces just line up. It's also why by FNAF 2 Mitchell goes by the name Fritz. It's a reminder of the brother he lost to William, a father that's not even related to him in blood. I'll have to continue on another page, since this one is becoming crowded. The next thing Pat noticed was that Gabe and Jeremy's graves have the same font, meaning they're related most likely as brothers. However, I'm going one step further to say that Cassidy is their sister, and here's why. When Golden Freddy attacks your office, he triggers hallucinations of only Bonnie and Freddy, not Chica and Foxy, since you would expect all the animatronics appear in the hallucinations, but they don't. Bonnie and Freddy are also the only other animatronics besides Golden Freddy and Endo-01 who can pull off the black eyes with white pupils look. And who is the only other animatronic besides the puppet that comes to see Freddy, his golden counterpart, before he deactivates, and the repeated text of "It's me" appears. Cassidy has to be Gabe and Jeremy's sister, and Cassidy helps out a lot more than just a connection between her brothers. She reinvents the meaning of the happiest day minigame. It wasn't Michael's b-day, it was her birthday. That's when the missing children's incident takes place. The math proves it. If Cassidy's birthday cake only has candles pointing in all 4 directions, then she'd be turning 4 years old. The next option would be if there was a candle in the middle, meaning she's only 5 years old. Another possibility would be if the candle pattern is symmetrical, meaning there are 3 candles on each side, which is a total to 6 years old. And finally, if you apply the middle candle variable, then she would be turning 7. The most likely, in my opinion, is 6 to 7 years, since she'd be in Afton's target range. Subtracting 1985 by either number would mean she was either born in 1979 or 1978, which also means she would be age 4 or 5 by 1983. Either way you slice it, crowd BOOS Shirley is trying to recreate the birthday stolen from Cassidy. We are nearing the end of this massive crazy train with a few more animatronics that literally blow the lid off of this franchise. Until part 2. But anyway, if you guys want to stay for part 2 where we present some actual concrete evidence, make sure you like the video, click subscribe to join the channel, share the video with a friend, and tap the bell for new videos. Come back to Theory Cadet again and maybe I'll tell you theory.